How's it going, kiddos? Welcome to the Brainstitch Chronicles. In this second guide for Bad North Jotunn edition, I will help you understand each enemy unit and how to counter them. To win any battle, it is key to understand your enemy, and this guide does exactly that. I also did a video on the basics of the game and about your arsenal, such as allied units, skills, items, and traits. Links are in the description below. Let's get right into it. The enemy militia is the first and weakest unit you will encounter throughout the campaign. They arrived in various group sizes but mostly in larger numbers, and once they reach the shore they usually move in big hordes. Smaller militia groups frequently wait for reinforcements from larger militia groups when they realize they are outnumbered by your forces. Do not underestimate this unit, as they can easily outnumber you without even realizing what is happening. Do note that they tend to aggro the houses and will go straight for them if they have a clear path. The enemy militia is vulnerable to all types of damage, especially ranged attacks, as they have no shields. Their damage and health are low, and all your troops can easily counter this unit. The best way to deal with the enemy militia is to bring your archers as close to the shore as possible and try to thin them down as much as possible. Your archers can one-shot them or knock them off the boats before they even reach the shore. Your pikes can also easily deal with this enemy unit, especially if positioned in a choke point or downhill attack. Your infantry can be brought in to clear any remaining enemy militia or chase them down if they are stubborn and running aimlessly around the island. I would advise you to use your abilities and items only if you're struggling and are overwhelmed with enemies. Save your abilities and items for tougher units, as the enemy militia can be easily countered if you plan right. The enemy infantry unit is a counterpart to your allied infantry unit, which is an upgraded militia unit. They are a very common type of enemy and they can block incoming ranged attacks with their shields. They travel in groups between 1 and 10 and they receive less damage than the militia unit and only lower their shields when in close melee combat. They perform well against your regular militia units and archers. The enemy infantry can still get hit by archers but will block 90% of the damage. However, they can get knocked into the water by fully upgraded archers, and even more efficiently if you have the heavy weapons trait on your archer's commander. If positioned correctly behind your infantry, archers can still do amazing against these units, as they lower their shields to fight your allied infantry troops. The pikes are the best counter for this enemy unit, as their shields won't be able to block their attacks too efficiently. Your infantry can also deal with this unit quite easily, especially if upgraded beyond level 1. They are just militia with shields, so I would advise the same when it comes to using your abilities and items on this enemy unit. The enemy infantry unit tends to aggro nearby units instead of houses, but will slide around your allied units if you aren't careful enough, and will go for the nearest house. The archers are one of the most common ranged units and one of the most annoying you will encounter in Bad North. They travel in mixed group sizes and are obviously countered by your infantry, as they're the only squad that is equipped with shields. Archers will shoot while approaching by boat, targeting the closest units available. They attempt to keep a two-tail distance between your troops, and they will often shoot while running. It can be extremely infuriating when you're dealing with tougher enemies to have a few archers running around dealing damage to your units from behind or from the side, slowly reaching and pillaging your houses. Your archers can counter the enemy archers, as you have mobility around the island. You can bring your archers in to shoot and then dodge the incoming enemy arrows, or play it safe and get your infantry into position with the archers behind. The Huscarls, also known as the Axemen. They are a stronger version of the Viking infantry unit, with superior shields, higher health, and a one-time use axe throw ability. This ability is used upon engagement with its closest target. They appear in small groups ranging between 1 and 8 and act the same way as the Viking infantry units after throwing their axes. Your infantry can counter this enemy unit as they can block their incoming axes. You can also play it smart and allow your infantry to take the axe hits and lure the Huscarls into a well-positioned pike squad to easier deal with them without injuring your infantry. Another strategy to counter the Huscarls is to attack their boats with your archers, knocking them off the boat before reaching the shore. You can also position the archers behind your infantry squad, as the Huscarls lower their shields in melee combat, making it extremely easy to pick off by your archers. The Brutes are big and tough melee units with the most health and damage in the game. Although they don't use a shield, they can take a lot of hits to bring down from both melee and range attacks. They are extremely powerful and can one-shot and knock back most of your allied units. They will decimate any infantry and archer squad that stands in their way, but can't push through your pikes. Your pike squad is the most efficient against these giants, as they are slow moving and don't come in numbers higher than 8. All your abilities can significantly damage the brutes, but a well executed plunge and pike charge can quickly destroy large groups. Additionally, damaging items such as mines and bombs can significantly damage the brutes. Still, the best one is the warhammer, which can easily knock the biggest group of brutes in the water, instantly killing them. Your archers can counter the brutes before their boats reach the shore. You can cause a lot of damage, even killing some of them, especially if equipped with the Ring of Command. Your infantry should be brought in to fight the brutes only when necessary, and use plunge if the situation allows it to stun the brutes without taking too much damage on your infantry. Pikes can be positioned anywhere to deal with the brutes, but if you can't, position them in a choke point or facing downhill. This makes the brutes file one at a time, and due to lack of space, making it extremely easy for your pikes to deal with them. The brute archers, or as I like to call them, the ballista boys, are the most dangerous unit in the game. They are the brute version of archers that can fire deadly long-range arrows, one-shotting most units if not out of sight. The further the ballista boys are from the shore, the more they will aggro non-shielded units such as your archers and pikes. The closer they get to the beach, they will start to target the closest squad. It is impossible to eliminate this unit before reaching the shore, as it will annihilate your archers before you do any damage to it. As they reach the shore, they will target the closest target. They do not burn houses, but will aimlessly wander around the island looking for targets to take down. They usually come in groups of 2 to 5, sometimes alone, but in several boats, making it incredibly difficult to find cover with your unshielded units. The best counter against the ballista boys is a well-positioned infantry squad that can ambush them with either plunge if the terrain allows it, or from behind cliffs or houses used to stay out of the line of sight of the brute archers. Having the fleet of foot trait on your infantry is one of the best traits against brute archers, as moving faster to deal with them or to cover is essential, especially if several boats arrive simultaneously. The Dual Wielders, also known as the Jumpers, are the most aggressive unit in the game that prioritizes killing troops over burning houses. Even if all your alive troops are replenishing in a house, they will head to the nearest house with troops inside and wait for them to come out. Dual Wielders can heavily damage any squad other than a level 3 infantry squad, as they have a 3-second rechargeable special attack ability similar to the infantry plunge. This special attack deals high damage and has an AoE knockback. Your best counter for these jumpy boys should be fully upgraded archers, as they can annihilate them before even reaching the shore. As they don't have shields, your archers can easily deal with these units, similar to dealing with the militia. But if they do reach the shore, make sure there is an infantry squad around to absorb the leap attack. And that's about it. This is all the information I have, and hopefully it will make you a better commander and strategist when facing the Viking horde. Strategy is developed depending on the type of island and wave type you encounter at each level, so take into consideration the info in this video, but never be afraid to experiment with new tactics that might eventually work out in your favor. Please join the conversation in the comments below if you want to add anything extra to the information already provided, or let me know if I missed or got something wrong. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we will go through tips and tricks that will help you expand your strategies. See you soon!